In recent days, something has started to bother many people in the tech world. Why did OpenAI suddenly decide to open part of its models after years of being completely closed? And what is behind this movement of billion-dollar companies competing to control the future of artificial intelligence? The truth is that the fight is not just about transparency, but about power. Meanwhile, Meta unveiled a project that can transform anyone into a complete digital character with voice, face, body, and acting, worthy of a Hollywood movie. Crazy, isn't it? But are we really prepared for this? And why might the new GPT-4u change everything we know about image creation with AI? A lot of information, isn't it? Now, before continuing, the part I like the most, asking you to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Just kidding, I hate asking for that, but if I don't say it, you'll leave the video. Pretend you have amnesia and act like you were never here. So go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, activate the bell, and if you don't do it, beware. The goal will turn you into an avatar that will stay on Facebook managing an old page of motivational quotes. Be careful, okay? I'll wait. Did you like it? Did you subscribe? Then let's go. Something important just happened in the world of artificial intelligence. And it wasn't just one thing. On April 1st, while many people were joking, the behind the scenes of artificial intelligence were on fire. OpenAI announced a change in direction that no one expected. Meta launched an impressive new technology, and Chinese giants like Alibaba and DeepSeek are engaged in a fierce competition. Now that you have an idea, let's break it all down. But to start, you already know. Comment down below if you think companies like OpenAI are opening their models voluntarily or because they're afraid of losing ground. For other giants, like DeepSeek for example, do you believe this openness is genuine or just another marketing ploy to appear transparent? I want to see your opinion. Pause and comment. And now let's continue. Start with OpenAI. If you already follow this company, you probably have the ChatGPT subscription. Use it. The free plan, you must remember that they have always been quite closed. The name might suggest otherwise, but for years their models were not accessible at all. According to them, this was a way to maintain security and prevent misuse of the technology. This argument even worked when AI still seemed like something out of the movie I, Robot. By the way, have you watched that Will Smith movie? Have you read the book? Comment below as well. But going back, while the talk was just about robots taking over, it was fine. But now everything is changing. On the 1st, OpenAI revealed that it is developing a more open model, something that many people, especially developers, have been asking for a long time. The CEO himself, Sam Altman, mentioned that this idea had been discussed internally for quite some time, but it never received priority. Now it has become a priority. The reason? What reason? Competition. Models like DeepSeek and Meta's Llama are gaining more and more ground. Meta's models alone have been downloaded over 1 billion times. That's a lot. And this is making even governments look more closely at tools that can be adapted and understood more easily. OpenAI realized that it could no longer remain idle. But it's worth noting something here. This doesn't mean that OpenAI has become completely open source. They are adopting what they call a model with open weight. This means that you won't have access to the source code or the data used in training, but you will be able to use the already trained parameters in the model. In practice, this allows companies and developers to adjust the model to their needs without having to start everything from scratch. This reduces time, reduces costs. For many, it's a huge advantage. If you're confused about the difference between open weights and open source, here it is. Open source includes everything: data, code, training method. Open weights only deliver the final result. In other words, it's more transparent than before, but there's still a lot that remains closed. And coming from OpenAI, this was already expected. They were never ones to open everything up anyway. But there's a detail that changes the game. This decision is not just to please developers. There's a lot of strategy involved. Elon Musk has been criticizing OpenAI for a long time, saying that the company has strayed from its original mission and turned into a money-making machine. And maybe he's right, because while talking about openness, the company is also negotiating a $40 billion funding led by SoftBank in Japan. If this investment is approved, it will be the largest in history for a startup. To provide more security to investors, OpenAI has presented very solid advancements. The new model GPT-4u, or in addition to generating images from text, it also allows you to send an existing image and request to modify or enhance. Moreover, it also has character consistency, which was very difficult. You can combine two images and you can also add text to the image, but quite a lot of text. All of this without relying on external models. These innovations make the process more straightforward and accessible for those working in design, marketing, and visual content production. Another important curiosity, during the live demonstration of these new functions, OpenAI servers began to face overheating issues. Sunaltiman mentioned the melting of their servers. It was not a figure of the intense use of the GPU was one of the main problems. It caused real physical heating in the systems, showing that the demand for this type of technology is higher than ever. This episode reinforces how the market is pushing the limits of current infrastructure. Delving into a point I mentioned earlier, the new OpenAI model can now generate images with much more precision, including with legible text within image. This was a constant flaw in previous versions and in other AIs on the market, to be honest. Most of them always generated criticism in forums like Hacker News. Now, with the advancements, this limitation has been significantly reduced, although there are still challenges when it comes to non-Latin alphabet. This is a good point to tell you something important. If you want to learn how to use artificial intelligence to generate income and transform your digital or physical business, join my mentorship monetization, Master of Artificial Intelligence. I teach step by step how to turn AI into your greatest financial ally, creating new sources of income with practical strategies that work even for beginners. If you want, help me out. I'll leave the link in the video description and pinned in the first comment, okay? Returning to OpenAI, Sam Altman demonstrated all of this live. One of the coolest advancements is the ability to generate images with up to 20 different elements. Moreover, this image generation capability has been extended to Sora, which is OpenAI's video generator. Now, in the same environment, you can generate images and animate those images with cinematic quality. The images now come with a C2PA tag, identifying that they were made by artificial intelligence. This is becoming a market standard and is something important at this moment. There are so many content restrictions, but now OpenAI allows images with public figures as long as certain rules are respected. And I'm going to comment on what I did here. Even a video about OpenAI AI stole from me. I will leave the link in the video description, because in the first few days you could really create realistic images of public figures, images of established brands. But 2 days later, OpenAI AI closed and restricted this again. I don't know if when you're watching this video, OpenAI will release it again, but for now it's blocked. In most cases, talking about public figures and established brands. Continuing, Meta came up with something that very much resembles what we saw in the movie Ready Player One by Steven Spielberg. Comment below if you've watched this movie, because it's amazing. They launched Mocha Bench. The model creates complete characters with a full body, synchronized speech expressions, and even camera movements. All of this from a text and a voice. It's like having a digital actor powered by artificial intelligence. The most surprising thing is that Mocha Bench doesn't need reference images or motion points. You send the script, a voice, and that's it. It generates an animated clip of up to 5.3 seconds in 720p resolution with 24 frames per second. You can even create conversations between characters. It's the first technology that does this completely. Mocha Bench was created in collaboration with the University of Waterloo and uses a diffusion architecture with transformers. It also uses voice resources to make everything more natural. Meta even created its own benchmark to test the tool called Mocha Bench. And according to their tests, it even surpassed other solutions like Sao, Sad Talker, and Halu 3 in lip accuracy, facial realism, and movement fluidity. Obviously, you can't blindly trust companies that conduct tests with their own tool, claiming that their tool is the best on the market, right? Let's see. With all this, it's clear that Meta is betting heavily on expressive artificial intelligence. The combination of Mocha with the success of the Llama models places the company in a leadership position in this sector. In China, things are also accelerating. DeepSeek is gaining momentum since it launched the V3 model, which costs less to develop and still delivers incredible performance. I've already made some videos about DeepSeek. Latest search here on the channel. This news shook the market and provoked a reaction from Alibaba. Bloomberg reported that Alibaba will launch the Q13 model later this month. The exact date is a mystery, but it could happen at any moment. In fact, they launched the previous version, the Ken1 2.5 Max, which also has a video here on the channel, precisely on the first day of the Chinese New Year, which is a holiday. This shows how seriously they are taking this competition. DeepSeek is also speeding up the next launch, the successor to the R1. The goal is to release it before May 2025. If it is as efficient as the V3, it could shake the global scene again. Today, OpenAI is trying to balance safety with transparency while also pursuing billion-dollar fund. The goal is strongly focused on creating characters and visuals. Meanwhile, China is competing for every inch of the market, setting the pace, and Alibaba trying to catch up. Don't blink, don't hesitate, don't oversee. Changes are happening fast. Share what you think in the comments. This video doesn't end now. It continues with us chatting in the comments. If you find this video interesting, like, share, and subscribe to the channel.